Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your Ring of Honor All-Star Extravaganza 7 preview and predictions. And we're going to John, you have any kind of comments on this show? Are you looking forward to anything in specific?
I mean, obviously, I'm looking forward to our Lord and Savior Adam Cole earning the #1 contendership spot that he shouldn't even have to earn in the first place, and Jay Lethal being double booked when I think he's one of the best heels going right now. Other than that, though, I'm just curious to talk about the rest of this card, and maybe I'll see my intrigue then, because those are the two matches just explicitly that I'm looking forward to from that fan sense. So, yeah.
I find it kind of odd that you say Jay Lethal's one of the best heels going today, and yet he gets cheered more than a lot of guys.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because it's like a smarter crowd, quote unquote. Because I think he does great work in terms of promos and who he's associated with and everything. I don't think it's anything on him, is my point. It's not like he's doing anything that's like, hey guys, love me. I just think it's people that probably who know his story or just really appreciate his work. They can't help but cheer for him. But I think as far as how he conducts himself, yeah, he's one of the best heels going in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. I feel like even though sometimes Truth Martini gets involved in his matches, I still feel like he wins clean more often than not.
Which I like that, though. I can't tell you how refreshing I find that.
But that's more of a babyface trait, isn't it?
It may be more of a babyface trait, but I think it just shows how capable he is to really back up that arrogant side. Like you said, like he always kind of channels that his inner Ric Flair. And while Ric Flair has never really been known to win like definitively like that really clean win, he was always a very confident guy, always boasting about how great he is. With Jay Lethal, it's like, yeah, I say I'm great, so you hate me for it, and then I back it up, which you hate me for it even more because you realize that you really are inferior by comparison.
Yeah.
So I like that.
All right. Well, I mean, that all being said, we've got 8 matches lined up for this card, 2 of which involve Jay Lethal, obviously. So Jay Lethal making up for 25% of this card.
Yeah, man. It's
How
going to be
crazy is
interesting.
that? So I'll
Yeah.
tell you what we're going to do. Let's kind of work our way up. Obviously, we're not going to necessarily go in any kind of projected card order or anything. We're just going to work our way up from the bottom as far as sort of importance. We're going to start with what we really perceive to be the least important match, and we'll work our way up to the world title match, right?
Sounds great.
So there are 2 singles matches on this card that actually there are 3 that have stipulations but don't really have any major implications. I guess one of them has some implications. We have ACH versus Matt Sydal for the best of 5 series that they've been doing. It's the 3rd match. I'm not completely sure what their record is right now. I probably should have looked that up. Cedric Alexander versus Moose in a no DQ match, and Dalton Castle versus Silas Young, where if Young wins, Castle gives his boys to Silas. If Castle wins, Silas Young becomes one of the boys.
Yeah, I would like to discuss Matt Sydal versus ACH first, only because with the other 2 matches, Moose versus a Cedric Alexander and Silas Young versus Dalton Castle, we have a greater familiarity with the story being told here. I have no idea how ACH and Matt Sydal got here, so I fully admit to being a very poor journalism on that front. So is that cool with you? We can talk about this match?
Yeah, and I'm actually on the Wikipedia page here, and ACH and Matt Sydal are tied 1-1.
Okay, so right now they're one apiece. This is the 3rd match in the best of 5 series, so whoever wins this is going to take the lead.
Yep.
Again, I can't really offer much substantive commentary. Again, my sincerest apologies to our audience because I don't know the story here. I don't know who I should be pulling for in this series. Is this just something out of
honestly think
respect?
that this is just kind of like a Drago Aerostar thing where, I mean, sure, Cueto made that more interesting, but if you wouldn't have, it would have just been 2 generic baby faces fighting to see who's better, and that's basically what this comes off as.
And you know what? Yeah, that's kind of the similar vibe that I've been getting. Like, oh, let's just have competition for competition's sake.
Yeah.
Which to me is kind of sad because it was only a little while ago when you and I still felt a greater connection to ROH storylines and were able to really keep up with it. ACH was in a more emotionally driven storyline with Adam Page after Adam Page brutalized Matt Sydal.
Yeah.
So that's what makes this whole series match very interesting to me. But looking at it as wrestling for wrestling's sake, I'm gonna go Matt Sydal here to get the lead at 2 wins. So
I think ACH is going to win the whole thing. So yeah, I agree. I think Matt Sydal is going to win here, and then ACH is going to win the last 2.
All right, there we go. I would agree with that, certainly. So with that said, I've got nothing else to say about this match. We can move on.
Okay, so which one of these do you want to talk about? Cedric versus Moose or Dalton Castle versus Young?
I guess Cedric versus Moose next. We'll go by order of interest because
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I've enjoyed this. Like I enjoyed the match that they had at what was it, Death Before Dishonor 13. That was the last big live reactions we did, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so,
Uh,
yeah.
and you know that match was great. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
oh,
I
that's right. I know why we're so disconnected because we missed Field of Honor completely.
Oh, okay.
Because
See
that
that?
was the
Yeah.
same day as NXT TakeOver Brooklyn.
Okay. See that makes a lot of sense
And
then.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so let me just kind of run over that card real quick. Adam Cole beat Christopher Daniels. War Machine beat the Killer Elite Squad. In case you don't know who that is, it's Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Lance Archer. Watanabe won a 9-way gauntlet match for an ROH TV title match that also involved Dalton Castle, Adam Page, Kazarian, Silas Young, Bushwhacker Luke. I hope
Wow.
that's not a typo. Moose, Donovan Dijak, and Cedric Alexander. Matt Sydal, ACH, and the Young Bucks won an 8-man tag match against the Kingdom and RPG Vice. Goto beat Elgin, obviously. The Briscoes beat the Time Splitters. Okada beat Roddy Strong, and of course, Jay Lethal was in a tag team match where he and Nakamura beat Red Dragon.
That sounds like an awesome team in Jay Lethal Nakamura.
Yeah.
That's great. So yeah, thank you for running down that card. So, you know, with Moose and Cedric, I enjoyed their match at Death Before Dishonor. I like heel Cedric. I love Veda Scott. I think she really knows how to do her job well in garnering that heat. She's so naturally unlikable with her attitude that I think it's a great pairing. I'm definitely still curious about the potential. Cedric's in a weird place because before he got injured, it really seemed like he was primed for an ROH world title shot, if not a full-blown run. But that's purely conjecture at this point and always will be. Moose, we know what a great prospect the guy is. I mean, look at him. And he gets better by the day. And I love that. You know, you always kind of, well, I shouldn't say you, I should say me. I always kind of cringe just a little bit when I hear about one person making a transition from one profession to another, but Moose has taken to it like a fish to water, and I'm just really proud of his progress. That said, you know, Cedric did get the win at the last event. I'm thinking Moose might get his win back because it's no DQ, so it's not like he would, you know, be cheapening his babyface momentum if he were to, you know, use a wrench on Cedric or something like that. In fact, that's kind of how I see the finish.
And I think that Moose is also expecting the wrench too, so it's not like it'll catch him by surprise.
Exactly. So I'm going to go with Moose for the win here.
I agree. Yeah, I think that Moose is finally going to kind of get his win here that he hasn't gotten over Cedric.
Yeah. So with that said, I guess the next matchup we'll talk about, Silas Young versus Dalton Castle. This one I'm the most looking forward to because I got to give these guys credit. You know, the story is just so elementary. You've got one guy who has a certain conception of what a man is, you know, from like this golden age, like we talked about in Silas Young in our last ROH review. And then Dalton Castle, who is brash, flamboyant, colorful, and yet people just gravitate to him.
And the hilarious thing is that both guys are douchebags in different ways.
Exactly.
Like if it wasn't for crowd reaction, this would be a heel versus heel match. But the crowd just loves Dalton Castle so much.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes it so intriguing. Now, I've become a bigger fan of Silas Young. You know, I've enjoyed watching his
See, and
work.
I would argue that he's probably the most over heel in ROH.
He's so
to
good.
To me, it's really between him and Bennett for the most over heel.
Yeah, I could give that to you. Yeah, if we're talking about like crowd reaction, which I mean that's how you gauge the success of a babyface or heel, I would concede that point to you certainly. I think between the public Silas announcements that our friend Gordon introduced me to, and then doing more research personally into Silas Young, I've become such a bigger fan of his. Like I feel like he may even be close to breaking my fave 5. So. As a fan,
just your ROH Fave 5 or your overall like?
I think just my ROH Fave 5, but okay. You know, depending on what he does. And see, here's the thing. So as a fan, I'm rooting for Silas Young here. I'm not gonna lie, but looking at it objectively, Silas Young isn't winning this match. I think ROH sees the potential of Silas Young being one of the boys. And honestly, Ash, I don't know if you said this. I think you did say this on an ROH Twitter, well,
Yeah.
and not in our conversations. I think it'll ultimately lead to Silas Young in a babyface run because I think he's had the current gimmick that he's been doing the whole last real man thing for a few years.
Oh, yeah.
ROH is probably thinking it's time for a shakeup. So I'm thinking Dalton Castle wins, Silas Young becomes one of the boys, and inevitably, I do think it'll lead to a babyface run for Silas.
Yeah, Silas Young has been doing this whole last real man gimmick since, man, 2012, maybe 2013 at the latest.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely time for some growth. And I thought that we were going to get that growth in his kind of feud with a departing Kevin Steen, but I mean, it looked like we were starting to get it, and now he's just back to normal.
Yeah, to me, the only way that I still have interest in the last real man gimmick, not saying that I won't always be entertained by Silas, but you know how I am with performers. I love seeing him do something substantive. If you're not going to put him in the ROH World title picture, which right now would make no sense anyway, so obviously that's out,
Right.
a shakeup is the next best thing. So I say you give Dalton Castle the win, you keep building his momentum. And hell, maybe you can even make Dalton and Silas a tag team, have them go for a bid for the ROH World Tag Team titles. You know, you got potential here. So
That's
Dalton
definitely
Castle,
a possibility.
yeah. So
Although Dalton Castle doesn't see his boys as equals.
that is true.
He
That is
literally
true.
steps on them and sits on them and lies on them.
So we'll see how it works. It's going to be an interesting dynamic, and I think it's one that ROH will capitalize on. Do you agree, Dalton Castle for the win?
Yes, I do.
No, we're in complete agreement so far. All right.
Well, I mean, if nothing else, ROH is generally pretty straightforward with their storylines. They usually, they're usually pretty simplistic, pretty predictable. So I guess I'm sure we'll disagree on something.
Yeah.
That being said, we have before we get to the double main event, the two Jay Lethal matches, we have another championship match that we'll talk about third from last. So then we only have, I believe, two other matches that we haven't talked about yet that don't involve championships. The Briscoes versus a mystery team, and the Fatal 4-Way number one contendership match. So do you want to talk about the Briscoes first?
Yeah.
Who do you think the team's going to be, John?
I don't know the whole team, but I do think Adam Page will make up one half of it.
You think it's going to just be Adam Page and Colby Corino?
Maybe. I was thinking maybe BJ Whitmer, but I'm not entirely sure. But I'm thinking this whole mystery team thing. At first, I'm like, oh, are they going to debut a new team in ROH? Which I think would be really cool for the record. And maybe you just have Adam Page pick the bones in the post match and assault Jay Briscoe. But if they want to get him directly in the mix, it'll probably be the Briscoes versus the Decade. So that's kind of my lock right now, Briscoes versus the Decade. If not, I would hope that Adam Page, assaults Jay Briscoe in the post match because I'm still really intrigued by this feud, even though you and I have kind of suffered a disconnect. But to get to a formal prediction, I think no matter who the mystery team is, the Briscoes will go over here. Briscoes for the win. That's my prediction.
Oh, wow. I don't know. I see. I feel like we would need to figure out who the actual team's going to be before I can jump to a conclusion like, oh, the Briscoes are winning no matter what.
Right.
Because, like, if they bring in freaking Mayu Tag from New Japan, Shibata and Goto, there's no way.
Right, yeah. Dude, and that's the thing, like, we gotta give a prediction, but it's kind of unfair to us because we don't have the full equation. I feel like we're working at a disadvantage. I'm just trying to think as logically as possible given the situation. We know Jay Briscoe has a problem with Adam Page. Adam Page, I think, would have to have some kind of involvement in this somewhere. I'd be a bit perplexed if he didn't. So I'm just going with it's going to be the Decade that emerges because Adam Page is just tired of Jay Briscoe not answering his callouts or whatever because Jay Briscoe referred to him affectionately as the pimple on my ass. So we'll confront him directly. And yeah, I do see the Briscoes getting the first win here in this whole thing.
All right. Well, I mean, there's also the distinct possibility that it ends up being the Young Bucks, in which case I would still pick the Briscoes to go over.
Right. Well, I mean, no, it can't be the Young Bucks though, can it? Because they've got the tag title
no, you're
match.
right. You're right. Yeah. Okay. So, well, I just keep on thinking a tag team that is at least relatively well known in ROH that isn't booked for this show. Like, I can't figure out who it might be.
Right. Yeah, it's perplexing, man, to say the least. But I think, you know what, I
Because I
think
know
what it,
Jay Briscoe's already beaten Adam Page a few times.
right.
Like from what I understand, he beat him. I think he beat him once by disqualification, and then he beat him again in a no holds barred match. So it's not like I don't know. I mean, is Adam Page even going to be around to come out?
Hmm. See, and I wasn't aware of this because I didn't know like if they had physical altercations yet or not. Because remember, the last big thing I remember from that feud
Adam Page's
was the whole
promo.
cola. Yeah, exactly. Now the program's not over, I don't think, because again, Jay Briscoe referred to Adam Page as the
Right.
pimple on my ass.
Yeah, but again, I don't think that Jay Briscoe would have said we've got this mystery tag team to deal with, and then on the side mention, oh, and I've got this pimple on my ass known as Adam Page. I feel like that there's a disconnect there that makes it definitely seem like Adam Page is not going to be a part of the mystery team.
I could concede that point. I think what you're saying certainly has merit. In which case, you know what it really comes down to, dude, for me, and I'm just gonna shoot straight with you. I think in cases like this, you gotta defer to the more dominant team. You gotta defer to the Briscoes. So
Yeah, I
they
agree.
are my prediction. Yeah,
But you know what though? That's the thing. Mark Briscoe can get pinned by anyone.
that is true.
You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to call it right now. I think it's going to be War Machine, and I think they're going to pin Mark Briscoe.
That would really be something. I like that idea, considering that they beat the Kingdom on the last episode of
Yep.
ROH TV, their
I think that
go-home
yeah,
show.
I
Yeah.
think that ROH is building up War Machine for a shot at the titles.
You know what? I love that answer, dude. I love that answer. But I think I'm still going to stick with the Briscoes. But man, that's the best idea I think that was produced in this discussion is War Machine because
All
I
right.
love that team. And yeah, good
Yeah, but I
stuff.
kept on trying to think of ROH teams that aren't on this show, and that's immediately War Machine. They're not on this show. They're coming off of a big win. Like if you would say War Machine was already in this match rather than the TBD that you already know about, I think that War Machine would be the heavy favorites.
Yeah.
Like if this match was already announced that it was the Briscoes versus War Machine, after seeing what happened on the last show that we reviewed, I do think that War Machine makes the most sense to win.
I completely. Yeah. You're making a lot of sense here. I
We'll
still,
see.
though.
I don't even know if it's
Yeah.
going to be War Machine. That's just my
Yeah.
best guess. So
And
I
that's
don't. I'm
why,
not
that's why,
trying to
yeah.
sway you or anything.
No, I understand. No, you're making great points. No, I know you don't have like an agenda. You're just talking a lot of sense right now.
Yeah.
I think though because War Machine isn't confirmed, we just don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I've got to defer to the Briscoes. So, but
Yep.
great discussion. I love that idea. I hope they do it, dude. Because yeah, it's
So
War
do I.
Machine's time. Yeah.
All right. So now we can talk about the Fatal 4-Way #1 contendership match for the ROH World Title. AJ Styles, Roderick Strong, Adam Cole, and Michael Elgin. And if it was up to me, it would just be a triple threat with Michael Elgin serving his time in Japan because he's so much better there.
I'm gonna play this match straight, guys. You know, no praise be Adam Cole stuff. Um, this match is a bit of a conundrum for me because I don't think Elgin's winning. No way in hell. I'm immediately Xing Elgin.
I'm
AJ
Xing Elgin and AJ.
See, AJ, he's in limbo for me because I want to axe him, but I'm
Think
never.
of it this way, though, Joe. What you really need to kind of think of it as, think of AJ not as an ROH talent, but as a borrowed talent from New Japan. He is a New Japan guy. They're not going to give him any kind of a major program with the world title or anything like that. I think that they're just going to use him to drive ticket sales, and that's about it.
Yeah. And you know what? I think you and I even arrived at that sentiment in our last ROH review
Yeah.
on TwitWow. So I agree. I think he's there to boost ticket sales. He's there to pop the crowd, get it going, really give an air of legitimacy to this match. Not that Adam Cole
Name recognition.
themselves. Yeah, name recognition. But this is where it gets complicated because Adam Cole is on this babyface run. He returned from an injury. He's got Descent, with the Kingdom. They have a tense relationship right now, and he's looking, to get back in the title picture in a big way. Now, all the fandom aside, because I think you guys know that as fans, me and Ashley would love to see Adam Cole get back to prominence. Then again, I have no ill will towards Roddy Strong either. But the thing is, Roderick Strong, I feel like, is more of a favorite because he's been more intimate with Jay Lethal lately in the ring. And the last match they had for the world title on ROH TV, even though Jay Lethal emerged the victor, it wasn't without controversy. So, to me, I'm really torn. Is it going to be Adam Cole because they want to tell this story, or is it going to be Roderick Strong? And here's the thing. Oh, God. See, depending on the structure of this card, like if the ROH World Tag Title match precedes this, and depending on the outcome of that, which we'll get to, in a few moments here, I could see the Kingdom wanting to ruin Adam Cole's party. To be honest, I could see them ruining his party regardless whether they win or lose those tag titles simply because they're on the fritz with him. I have to give this to Roderick Strong. I just can't conceive of the Kingdom letting Adam Cole get this victory just for some reason. And I hate myself for it because I want to say Adam Cole, but I've got to say Roderick Strong's going to win this thing. He is not done with Jay Lethal yet.
Yeah, and it's kind of annoying and kind of boring because they're doing the same main event program for so many months in a row, but I do agree. I think Roddy's going to win.
Oh, wow. See, I didn't think we were going to agree on that. I thought you were going to be like, John, you're crazy, Adam Cole.
No, I mean,
But,
obviously, Adam Cole is going to be the winner of this match, whether he gets the pinfall or not. But
right.
talking about the actual pinfall, I think Roddy Strong is probably going to pin Elgin.
Oh, God, dude. I'm just thinking about you and I popping so hard. Like, if
I mean,
Adam
there's
Cole
even a
gets the
distinct
pin.
possibility that, like you said, the Kingdom comes out and Roddy ends up pinning Adam Cole.
Yeah, see, dude, and that's my thing. I feel like Adam Cole is preoccupied at the moment with this whole Kingdom thing.
Well, with the
Rod,
Kingdom and with Kyle O'Reilly.
yeah, and see, that's going to be another discussion too later on in this vid.
Well, I
I,
mean, that's that. I mean, I feel like that. To me, if Kyle O'Reilly does end up winning the world title, which I just spoiler alert, I don't think he will. Adam Cole would make the most sense to win this because then we could have that Future Shock match. But like I
yes,
said, I don't think Kyle O'Reilly's going to win the world title. So,
right, yeah. I mean,
and it's
look,
honestly, it's not even because I don't think he's ready for it. I do think that he is ready for it. I just don't think that the company is ready to take it off Lethal already.
I agree. Yeah, Lethal has not done his run yet, and again, I have quite a bit
He's
to say.
only out it for what 2 months now.
Yeah, hasn't been that long. And I have plenty to say about Lethal, but we'll wait for his matches. To me, guys, I love the idea. I'm even thinking about it now of me and Ashton just like exploding. Adam Cole, baby, like all the shtick. If he got the winning pin, I want to do that with Ashton so bad, and I want Twitwow to give you that moment. I just don't see it. I think Roderick Strong, who again is a great athlete, phenomenal talent. I just would want to see him do something else. I think I've seen enough of him in Lethal. For God's sakes, they went to a 60-minute draw at Death Before Dishonor. I've seen enough of these guys for a while
Yep.
with each other, but I don't think it's over yet. Roderick Strong for the win.
Yeah, I don't know what they can do to make Strong versus Lethal interesting again.
Yeah.
Because they've already had not only the 60-minute Broadway on pay-per-view, but they've already had an amazing television match where Lethal won, I mean, mostly clean.
Yeah, I mean, he did use the belt to the skull to set up for the second lethal injection.
But he didn't get caught, is my point.
Yeah. I I don't know, dude. It's so hard because again, it's so easy to just put AJ and Elgin to the side, but then you've got
Maybe
Roderick
they'll
Strong.
do a no rules, like some kind of like an unsanctioned match without honor or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I could see them doing that. So yeah, that thought right there even kind of reinforces the idea that Roddy's winning this.
Adam Cole though.
I know. Well, Adam Cole or AJ even.
Yeah, AJ is so on point right now. I would not mind
When
him. I
was the
mean, my
last time you
God.
saw AJ Styles versus Jay Lethal?
Oh my God. I don't even ever remember them competing much in TNA if at all. Like I'd love to see that match.
They were kept mostly separate, it feels like.
Yeah,
Because I feel like
definitely.
by the time Lethal signed on, he was in the X division, and by the time he did sign on, AJ had already kind of graduated to the world title status.
Right. All right, so we both agree on Roddy for the win. Nothing more to say than that. And
All right,
yeah.
John, let's talk about this three-way ROH tag team match, the tag championship match. The Addiction, the Kingdom, the Young Bucks. Who do you think is going to win this?
First of all, before I say that, let me just say that this is actually one of the matches I'm looking forward to most involving people not named Adam Cole.
Right, yeah, that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, I I'm really liking, how this whole thing came together. And to me, I'm just going to re-echo my sentiments that I've been saying on ROH Twitwell. It's the Kingdom's time. I've been loving what they've been doing lately. I'm loving this storyline with Adam Cole. I'm tired of the addiction. And the Young Bucks, here's the thing about the Young Bucks. They are so ridiculously good, and they've already accomplished so much. I feel like they've graduated from the ROH tag team titles.
Yeah.
I mean, they just won. They just had success recently on a Pro Wrestling Guerrilla show we watched. I think that was Mystery Vortex.
Yeah, Mystery Vortex 3, they won the PWG tag titles.
Yeah, spoiler alert there, everybody. I don't want to ruin anybody's good time,
I
but
mean, the show happened in June, and it was probably available on DVD by July, so I don't think we're spoiling anything.
yeah, so they had success there. They will get the ROH World Tag Team titles again, I'm sure. I mean, it's the Young Bucks, but I feel like I've seen them in that role. I've seen them so much in New Japan, with Bullet Club. To me, they don't need this, and the Addictions already had it, and we're tired of it. It's time to give the Kingdom the rub. Plus, again, I thinking back to the Briscoes versus Mystery Team matchup. I'm just falling harder and harder in love with your logic about it being War Machine. War Machine gets the win. They beat the Kingdom recently. It makes all the sense in the world to me to put the straps on the Kingdom, and then their first big program is with War Machine. So I'm sticking by what I've been saying all this time. Kingdom gets the win, and I'll say they'll even pin the Young Bucks. So, I guess maybe make the Addiction look good or whatever. So there you go. Kingdom for the win.
You're not going to like what I have to say, John.
Oh, dear God. Are you going to say Addiction's going to retain?
Yep.
I
I think the Addiction's going to retain, and I do think that War Machine is going to end up being the team that takes the titles off of them eventually, probably in a month or two. They've only held the title since April. It's not like it's like a 6-month title reign. It will be in a month, but it's not there yet. And ROH loves their long title reigns.
They do. You know what? And here's the thing, too. I'm not hating what you're saying because I love War Machine. So I think if they were the ones that would be chosen to beat the Addiction, great. And do the Kingdom even need the ROH tag titles to make their program with Cole work? Absolutely not. I'm just saying that I feel like they've been doing such tremendous work lately. They should be rewarded for that work. And I'd love to see them get the belts. But
Well, I mean,
guess,
you reward them for that work by putting them on TV constantly, and they're on almost every episode of television.
That is true, and that is a fair point. I'm sticking by the Kingdom, but again,
oh no, I don't blame you. I think that it definitely comes down to the Kingdom and the Addiction. I don't think the Young Bucks are winning at all.
Right.
But I mean, to me, I feel like there's still teams that the Addiction can put over, and the Kingdom don't necessarily need it right now.
Yeah, and you know what? I think if you look at it from a storytelling perspective, you got to look at the Addiction are heels. They've had this long run. So what do people wait for? They wait for the babyfaces to come and save them from the title reign.
Yeah.
War Machine would be perfect for that role. Honestly, dude, I did it with the Briscoes. I can't do it again here. You're talking so much sense. I'll switch camps. I'll say the Addiction retains. You're talking too much sense, though. That's just it. I can't say, oh, Ashton, you're making a lot of sense, and then stay with my pick. I mean, I know I've done that in the past, and that's annoying. I'm not looking to do that here. I only stuck with the Briscoes in the last match because we don't definitively know the mystery team.
Right.
So I think smart money goes to the veteran team. Here we know the team.
So if it would come out, tonight yet, that the mystery team is War Machine, would you switch your pick?
Yeah, I would. Because, again...
So it really just comes down to not knowing.
Dude, you're making excellent arguments. I can't be like, oh, this, but I'm still going to stay with this because of my gut. I do that.
I get you. It's not
a
situation, right?
Yeah. It's you're making a lot of sense. So I say the Addiction. I'll agree with you. The Addiction retains, and really though, I would hope that War Machine gets their payoff because between them and the Kingdom, you're talking about two teams that I think are deserving of a run.
Yeah.
And I'm just so sick of the Addiction. But if I have to suffer through one more successful defense so that they drop it to War Machine, I can handle it. So
I think the Kingdom and Future Shock can feud without championships being involved. Honestly.
I do, yeah, and that's why I even said, earlier, do I feel like they need the belts hanging in the balance for this program with Cole to work? Absolutely not. Absolutely. I feel like there's enough history there on its own that it can stand on its own legs.
Yeah.
The Kingdom's been so good lately. I'd love to see Bennett with a championship. It really comes from an emotional response.
Well, they were already the IWGP tag champs.
Yeah, and now I just want to see them with the ROH gold, but again, you're making too much sense right now, so I'm gonna, there you go.
I feel like I have to apologize. I feel like I crushed your dreams or something.
No, Dude, no, it's cool. Like, look, we're always gonna have our emotional responses, and I'm rooting for the Kingdom
Oh,
come All Star
definitely.
Extravaganza. But
I mean,
like,
when it comes down to it, we're probably both going to end up rooting for the Young Bucks.
yeah, well,
That's just kind of
Super
how they
King.
work.
I love King Karina. Super King. It's just so
Super
good.
kick!
They see you do a better one, yeah, because he really does stretch his voice out. But no, dude, like we know the Twit Wow. We offer serious and sometimes crazy commentary, your face jokes and everything. But you're making a lot of sense. I think the way you're looking at the tag team division with War Machine on the rise, I agree with you. If they weren't on the rise, they wouldn't have beaten the Kingdom on TV before they're in a championship match.
Yep.
You're putting all the pieces together. Who am I to be like, no, that's not, whatever. It's this, so no. I hate the addiction. I hate that you're probably right. I'm not going to lie, but it is what it is. And hopefully War Machine gets their due. And that's it.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the double main event, John. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Jay Lethal versus Bobby Fish for the ROH World Television Championship.
See, and this is the one that I think is less straightforward than the other one because, like you, I share your sentiments about the ROH World Title matchup. This one though is a bit more difficult.
Can I just throw a number at you?
Sure.
Jay Lethal has held the television championship for 531 days.
Jesus. You know what? Just from looking at everything, and it's Red Dragon, and they're so impressive, and I think they're getting ready to do singles, which I'm excited about. We've seen Kyle O'Reilly do singles in PWG and other places, so we know he's capable. Bobby Fish is more of a question mark for me personally. I don't know about you. For me, definitely more of a question mark. But I think you said 531 days for Jay Lethal.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's 531 as of today, I think. It'll be 532 tomorrow.
Well, then I say we're going to have 532 tomorrow. I'm picking Jay Lethal to retain. I don't think he's dropping it yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is one where we disagree. I'm picking Bobby Fish to win it.
And I know you were, and I know you have been for a while now because you're pretty outspoken about it. To me, Red Dragon is so OP and so legit. Like let me put it to you this way: if Bobby Fish were to win, I wouldn't be scratching my head over it, right?
Right.
Because it's Red Dragon for God's sakes, and they've already done everything. So it's not like I'm gonna be like, "Ooh, that makes no sense." I just maybe this is the one because every preview predictions I always got to do the one pick from my gut, and I'm just thinking Jay Lethal isn't dropping either, Billy. I think they realize.
Do you really just think that they're going to kind of let him run with this double title? And I mean, is it compounded at all by the fact that you just can't imagine Bobby Fish as a singles champion in ROH?
I can't. You know what? I will admit, yeah, I do think it is compounded by that a little bit. I just feel like with how strong the House of Truth is going right now and how strong of an act Jay Lethal is, if we're talking, how he's been winning, the fact that he's a dual title holder, I'm just looking at him specifically, and it's going to be so crazy, Ashton, because we're going to be talking about another double champion in Seth Rollins on Saturday for Night of Champions.
Yeah.
But for Jay Lethal, it's a completely different set of circumstances. I think you're going to like my commentary on Rollins. Just a little teaser there for everybody looking forward to our Night of Champions analysis. But Jay Lethal, yeah, I don't think it's his time to give up both belts yet. I could see him going on a tear because ROH really loves to make their top tier guys as legitimate as possible. I mean, Jay Briscoe didn't get pinned for 2 years. So I'm thinking they're going to do something really special with
He wasn't
Lethal.
champion that whole time, though.
He wasn't champion that whole time. You're absolutely right. He wasn't. But I think they're looking to do something really special with Lethal as if they haven't already done it already.
I was willing to bet that if he hadn't gotten injured, he probably would have been champion that whole time, but you get the idea.
Yeah. So I think Jay Lethal retains for right now. I don't think his journey's over yet. I don't know how it's going to come to an end, which is even crazier. But
you know what, though, John? Here's my thing.
Yeah.
You are probably right.
Okay.
I think that you almost, because I've been talking so much about how I think Bobby Fish is going to win, it's almost skewed your perspective. I want to just set things straight. I'm the one that's going out on a limb here.
Right.
Picking Bobby Fish to win the television championship is a weird pick to make. Not Jay Lethal's going to retain both titles. That's what it seems like everyone, that's the logical thing to do. It's Jay Lethal. He's been the double champion for 3 months now, I think, maybe 2. And yeah, it makes perfect sense for them to keep both titles on him and just kind of let him drag this out a little bit more. But I just think that with Red Dragon not necessarily being completely done, but basically going their separate ways, with O'Reilly teaming up with Cole as Future Shock and them finding success, it leaves Bobby Fish out in the cold. He doesn't really have anything to do. So if they put the title on him, it'll give them a reason to use him more.
And that makes perfect sense to me.
That's just my logic, though. That's why I'm picking Bobby Fish. I'm not picking Bobby Fish because I think that he's better than Jay Lethal, or because I think that ROH wants to book him as stronger than Jay Lethal, or because I think that Bobby Fish is going to be a great singles champion or anything like that. I literally just think that from a booking perspective, in order for ROH to keep Bobby Fish relevant, they want to put a singles title on him.
Yeah, and again, like all throughout this premium predictions, especially all the really big matches, your logic's been on point to me. Nothing skewed about it or anything like that. I just feel like, and yeah, because Red Dragon is splitting up and Kyle O'Reilly's doing Future Shock, and here's the thing, Kyle O'Reilly, because he's already kind of built that body of work elsewhere, you and I know at least, and I'm sure a lot of other people do, he wouldn't need the world title to survive, because I think he could have programs as a singles competitor like we'd be drawn in. Bobby Fish, I don't know that yet. They may want to give him the ROH World Television Championship to make him hit the ground running, and that makes all the sense in the world to me.
Yeah, and that's why I'm picking him.
Exactly.
Jay Lethal, I think, is the smart pick here, but I'm going out on a limb.
And see, like, maybe that is ultimately why I'm picking Lethal, because trying to think about it in ROH's way, they could be like, oh, we give the ROH World Television title to Bobby Fish, but it seems like Jay Lethal is the safer investment because he is just really doing great things right now at the House of Truth. So, yeah, I say he retains the ROH World Television Championship. But again, I just want to emphasize to everybody, I won't be shocked if Bobby Fish wins, A, because of Ashton's arguments, and B, because, 531 days, how much longer do you want this to go? So, but yeah, Jay Lethal to retain for right now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, now let's talk about our main event. What do you think, John?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, just continuing those sentiments. I think Kyle O'Reilly, much like you, is ready to be ROH World Champion. I think he'd be a phenomenal champion, great in-ring worker, all that stuff. But Jay Lethal just recently won the thing, and thinking about ROH and how they perceive wrestling and championships and all that stuff, this ride isn't over. And plus, Truth Martini, you think he's going to let that world title go? I mean, we made all the jokes in our Death Before Dishonor live reactions with your Truth Martini impersonation, which was gold. I have to go back and listen to that, man. That was hysterical. And you're just like, don't lose the championship, Jay, or it's going to be big problems. And, I'm thinking, the same thing again. Jay Lethal's kind of the golden egg-laying goose of the House of Truth and potentially even ROH right now. His journey is not over. He's going to beat Kyle O'Reilly.
You know what, though, John? I feel like I wish the roles were reversed. I wish O'Reilly was going after the TV title because I'd pick him to win every single time.
And I think I would agree with you there. I think that might actually be a better circumstance where I would budge and be like, okay, Jay Lethal is dropping one. Though, Ashton, and I was kind of thinking about this while we're talking. Now, I'm not budging my pick, understand. I still think Jay Lethal's walking out with both titles. But you have to wonder how the ROH World Television Championship match is going to go down. Because if Bobby Fish is done dirty, like, he's probably going to want to come out at a certain point in the match and even the odds for Kyle O'Reilly. And then I wonder if that would give O'Reilly a better chance to beat Jay Lethal. And we walk away with the real upset with, like, streamers coming in the ring everywhere. And Kyle O'Reilly is world champion.
That would be amazing.
I doubt it, but I mean, again, like, that's the intrigue. It's one thing.
I definitely don't think it'll happen, but I think that because of the fact that I definitely don't think it'll happen, it'll make it a bigger surprise if it does.
Yes, I think you just articulated that perfectly. And see, that's why I think I'm so intrigued by All-Star Extravaganza, to be honest, because it's one thing for Jay Lethal to compete twice. It's another thing for the matches to be against Red Dragon. I mean, Red Dragon. We know how legitimate these guys are. But yeah, I am picking Jay Lethal to retain, but this one will be close. And I do think Bobby Fish will try and throw a wrench in anything the House of Truth tries. So it's really going to come down to Jay Lethal's ability versus Kyle O'Reilly's ability. And if you're Jay Lethal, I mean, I still like those odds, but not by much. So Jay Lethal to retain, but this could be a really good night for Red Dragon. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, I want Kyle O'Reilly to win so bad. I'm rooting for this guy. I freaking love Kyle O'Reilly as a singles champion in PWG. And to see that again in ROH would be awesome. So
Yeah.
that, yeah, like I'm seriously into the idea of him winning. I just don't think ROH is going to take the title off Jay Lethal already. That's what it really comes
Yeah.
down to.
Yeah. All right, so just to recap, you are going out on a limb with Bobby Fish to win the ROH World Television Championship, but
Yep.
we're both in agreement that Jay Lethal, he's not letting go of that world title yet, so he will retain. All right, well that's the entire ROH card. I mean, you and I had very few disagreements, and the ones we did have, they weren't like this deep gaping chasm. So yeah, very interesting show for sure.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. This I don't know if this is going to have any real match of the year contenders on it, but if it does, it'll either be the Fatal 4-Way or the main event.
Well, every match that Adam Cole is in simply because of his existence is a match of the year candidate. So
Right.
I certainly agree with you there. And then Jay Lethal. I love that we do this, man. Jay Lethal and
We
Kyle
do what?
O'Reilly.
We're just talking sense.
I know. Just praise be to Adam Cole, people. Praise be to Adam Cole, baby. And then Jay Lethal and Kyle O'Reilly, they'll kill it. You know,
Yeah.
they'll have a phenomenal matchup.
I think they might even have a better match than Jay and Roddy have had.
Yeah, I could agree with you there. Definitely. Definitely. So, guys, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, Ashton, do you have anything else you want to say about this show?
No, sir.
All right, then. Well, guys, I guess that's it. Ashton, you can close us out, brother, because I got nothing
All
to
right.
say.
Well, hey guys, we're going to call it here, and hopefully you enjoyed our preview and predictions. Tell us what you think's going to happen at the show down in the comments section, and make sure to tune in for live reactions tomorrow night. I'm sure we're going to be losing our minds during a few of these matches, guaranteed during the Triple Threat Tag Championship match because Young Bucks. We should be, I mean, oh my God, as soon as PWG's Bola, the 3 shows become available to watch, we are going to record our reactions to them while we watch them because that show looks incredible, especially nights 2 and 3. I mean, I'm sure night 1's awesome too, but night 2 had that lucha match where fans were throwing money in the ring, and night 3 had Pentagon Jr. versus Zack Sabre Jr., so yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah, so that being said, though, stay tuned. Live reactions to ROH All-Star Extravaganza tomorrow night, tomorrow being Friday. Saturday, we'll be doing preview predictions for WWE Night of Champions. Sunday, live reactions. I don't think we're going to be doing a Raw review on Monday, but we'll look out on Monday or Tuesday. We might be putting out a topical video depending on how Night of Champions and Raw go. So be on the lookout for that, and we will see you all for our ROH All-Star Extravaganza live reactions.